Hey everyone, my name is Zach Sundberg, and I'm making this video to offer my perspective on how we can beat the coronavirus without destroying our economy. I have a PhD in artificial intelligence, and one of the things that I study is how the information structure of a decision-making problem can make it easier or harder to solve. So here's the dilemma we face. Some of us have the virus. That's the red person in this drawing. In some people, the infection is obvious, but others have not yet or might not ever develop symptoms. Our leadership has to make a choice about whether we let people go out to work or keep them at home. So let's look at the consequences of these two actions. Here we have a graph where the horizontal axis represents the success of our economy. At the far end is the great prosperity that we've been experiencing for the past decade, and at the other end is economic depression. The vertical axis is the number of lives that we can save with our actions at this time. I've heard that the worst case scenario is that 2 million people could die from the virus. So let's assume that if we did everything perfectly, we could save 2 million lives. At the bottom is 0, or 2 million lives lost, which would be a catastrophe. So on this axis, better outcomes are in the top right corner. It seems that there are two very bad courses that we can take. The first is to stay sheltered in our homes, saving lives, but sacrificing the economy. Some have estimated that we could face 20% unemployment if we continue this course. It's true that we can temporarily reduce some of the pain that people face with bailouts from the federal government, but that does not fix the productivity that is lost when people can't do their jobs. The other option is to open the economy and potentially allow the tragedy of thousands or even millions of deaths. There might be some other options in between, but if we have regulations that apply to everyone indiscriminately, they will lie somewhere on this trade-off curve. Every person who goes to work increases the risk, and every person who stays home hurts the economy. If there is a way around this, we need to be pursuing it, and I think that there might be. The key is radically aggressive testing. I'm not talking about just fixing the shortage of tests we have now. I'm talking about making testing our main weapon in this battle. I'm talking about producing hundreds of millions of tests that are easy, that take 5 minutes of your time and yield results in 45 minutes or an hour. Creating these tests will take a great deal of leadership and coordination, but it seems to be technically possible, and I think the best use of our resources. The reason is that it gives us the most powerful weapon we have against the virus: information. Suppose we can test everyone, or a large part of the population, regularly, even if they don't have symptoms. Then people who are well can go out carefully with proper protective equipment and do their jobs and produce the goods and services that make our way of life possible. And sick people can stay home and recover. So this new information from testing allows us to break the trade-off between our economy and lives. And instead of being stuck on the curve, we get a point up here where we can save most lives and maintain most of our prosperity. That's why I think radical testing should be the most important pillar of our strategy as we face this virus during the spring and summer. Thanks for watching. For a more thorough discussion of this idea by much more qualified people, read the New York Times opinion piece in the description. Note that this discussion was meant to be merely qualitative, and I'm not an economist or public health expert. To determine the exact best way forward, we need to do much more quantitative research.